Hello and welcome to the Mental Short for week 13 of SBT2. My name's Miriam and I'll be taking you through the discussion points for this week. As you can see on the screen, we have this week's pink subject question displayed there, and it is, how do we create a safe and supportive environment to help children explore personal development, relationships and well-being? So this week we're actually focusing on PSHE and RSE. So that's the question that we want you to discuss with your student teacher. Now, as part of that discussion, you can discuss how you promote positive classroom culture, so how you encourage the fostering of respect, empathy, and how children have open discussions in your classroom. We'd also like you to discuss emotional support, so to teach self-awareness and coping strategies for well-being, and to also discuss inclusive learning. And that might look like using diverse resources to explore relationships and personal growth. Now, on this slide, we have the subject map for PSHE and RSE. And this is, some really chunked down good examples of pedagogy for teaching PSHE and RSE. So you've got some different kind of hints and tips essentially on this page for when you come into planning and teaching. So, for example, let's have a look here at this statement. So the bottom row in the middle there, it says PSHE teaching can be supported by the inclusion of diverse, high quality text. Select age appropriate text, which can be used to support PSHE related learning. Text could reflect diversity of different faiths, physical abilities, family types, and a range of communities and characteristics that may exist in your class. So that is a nice link there to the inclusive learning element of the discussion point. It might be that maybe as a mentor, you've used some really nice examples of resources in your classroom that you can share with student teachers to give them an example of what they could do in their PSHE teaching. And when students come to plan their PSHE lessons, they can have a look here at this subject map. Whoopsie, sorry. They can have a look here at this subject map to get some ideas for and how to make a good PSHE lesson, essentially. Now, what might this look in practice? So we're just thinking now about the targets that you might set based on your discussion that you've had. And if I just go back here and we have a look at the discussion points, one of the discussion points was to create a positive classroom culture, foster respect, empathy, and open discussions. And one of the targets that you might set based on the discussion that you've had could be around setting clear expectations and ground rules for discussions. Now, we know that when we're teaching PSHE or RSE, having some ground rules in place really help make the expectations of conduct really clear. It helps to minimise inappropriate comments or maybe some inappropriate behaviour around sensitive topics. They can also help to encourage a bit of fairness as well. So we really want to get those nice ground rules, those expectations down, so that students can feel as if they have a safe space to discuss what they'd like to discuss. Now, some of the ground rules, the expectations might already be set in your classroom, and it might be that student teachers might like to adopt those rules. Maybe as a bit of a baseline, they could come up perhaps with their own rules for this example target. But one of the rules might be about having the right to pass for certain discussion topics, and having a right to an opinion, not making assumptions, making sure we listen respectfully. Those kind of things could be part of the clear expectations and ground rules that student teachers set in their PSHE and RSE lessons. Now we'll move on to this week's pillar question. So as you can see, we've got that on the screen there, and it says, consider and celebrate our backgrounds, likes and interests when you select the texts and resources we use. Make sure we are all represented and celebrated without being stereotyped. And what we'd like you to do is discuss why this statement is important and share examples of it from classroom practice. Now, you'll need to set a target based off this discussion. So an example target that I've got here says carefully select and use a range of diverse resources to support learning in PSHE. Now, if I go back here to the subject map, in the bottom left corner here, it says carefully select sources carefully select sources which encourages the challenging of stereotypes, carefully select resources and sources of information which avoid perpetuating stereotypes and which avoid inducing fear or shock. Teach with consideration of the range of experiences in your class and promote positive messaging about diversity. So that's a direct link here to this area of the subject map. Again, that students can use when they're thinking about, what constitutes a good PSHE or RSE lesson. So your target would be, supporting the students in meeting some of the elements there from the subject map. And just making sure we've got a nice balanced and diverse set of content in our lessons. Thank you very much for watching this week's Mentor Short.